The morning Elias Mercer lost everything, he walked out of the towering glass headquarters carrying nothing but a worn backpack. A lunchbox that was still half full, and a small photograph of his 8-year-old daughter tucked safely inside his wallet. The company he had faithfully served for 12 years erased his future in less than 10 minutes. His access card stopped working before he even reached the elevator. Security silently escorted him outside, and the people who once called him family looked away as though he had never existed. What hurt even more was that his daughter had been waiting for the weekend picnic he had promised with his next paycheck. As he stood beneath the bright blue afternoon sky, watching hundreds of employees continue their busy lives without noticing his heartbreak, he believed the world had finally forgotten him. But what Elias could never have imagined was that every quiet Sunday afterward would slowly rewrite his destiny through one simple act of kindness toward a lonely neighbor, completely unaware that she was the powerful CEO of the very company that had taken everything from him. Before we continue this unforgettable journey, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales Journey if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the incredible power of compassion. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more hearts around the world. Life became painfully simple after that day. Elias sold his old sedan to cover rent, canceled every unnecessary expense, and accepted temporary construction jobs that barely paid enough to keep food on the table. Every sunrise became another opportunity to survive instead of dream. His daughter, Ivy, noticed the changes long before anyone else did. The expensive cereal disappeared from breakfast. Birthday gifts became handmade, and movie nights were replaced by quiet walks through the neighborhood park. Yet Ivy never complained. She simply smiled more often, hugged her father a little tighter, and reminded him that home was wherever they were together. That innocent strength became the only reason Elias refused to give up, even on the days when rejection letters piled higher than hope itself. They moved into a modest neighborhood where every house carried stories of people rebuilding their lives. Across the narrow street lived an elderly-looking woman named Helena Brooks. She always watered her flowers every Sunday morning, carefully trimmed the small garden surrounding her porch, and struggled to carry heavy grocery bags from her car. Her movements were slow, but her eyes carried a quiet intelligence that made people curious without understanding why. Most neighbors politely waved before returning to their own routines. But Elias noticed something different. He recognized loneliness because he lived with it himself. The following Sunday, after mowing the tiny lawn outside his rental home, Elias crossed the street and quietly offered to help with Helena's groceries. She smiled warmly, thanked him with genuine gratitude, and invited him to rest for a glass of lemonade on her porch. The conversation remained simple. They spoke about flowers, changing seasons, favorite books, and how difficult it had become for people to truly know one another. Elias never mentioned losing his career. Helena never spoke about her past. It became an unspoken agreement that neither needed pity to enjoy a peaceful Sunday afternoon. Those weekly visits slowly became a tradition. Every Sunday, after spending the morning with Ivy at the park or local library, Elias would spend several hours helping Helena. Sometimes he repaired a leaking faucet, painted an old fence, cleaned the gutters, fixed broken shelves, or simply sat listening while she shared memories about traveling across different countries years ago. Ivy often planted flowers beside Helena's roses, filling the quiet garden with laughter that had been absent for many years. Helena looked happier each passing week, while Elias found unexpected peace in helping someone who expected nothing in return. Unknown to Elias, Helena was not simply a retired widow living quietly in the suburbs. She was actually the founder and recently appointed CEO of the multinational technology company where Elias had worked. After years serving on the board overseas, she had unexpectedly returned following disappointing financial reports and growing complaints about unethical management practices. She chose to live quietly, without revealing her identity, because she wanted to understand ordinary people again instead of being surrounded by executives who only spoke through presentations and statistics. She believed true leadership began by listening to lives untouched by wealth or titles. One peaceful Sunday afternoon, While Elias repaired a loose wooden step outside Helena's porch, Ivy accidentally asked why companies could throw away good people without caring about their families. Helena gently looked toward Elias, noticing the sadness that briefly crossed his face before he calmly explained that sometimes businesses forgot the human stories behind employee numbers. He never criticized anyone personally. He simply said that bitterness could destroy a person's future faster than unemployment itself. Helena listened silently, feeling an unexpected weight settle upon her heart. That evening, curiosity led Helena to request confidential employment records from the company. She searched Elias Mercer's name. The file revealed years of excellent performance evaluations, leadership awards, outstanding customer satisfaction scores, and recommendations from multiple supervisors. Yet one recent restructuring document labeled his position non-essential, while approving enormous executive bonuses for senior management. The deeper Helena investigated, the more disturbing the truth became. Experienced employees had been dismissed to improve quarterly profits, while inexperienced contractors replaced them at lower salaries. It explained why company performance had begun collapsing. Helena spent the next several weeks conducting internal reviews. Without revealing her discoveries, financial irregularities surfaced. Employee morale had reached historic lows. Customer complaints multiplied. Departments that once functioned like families had become fearful workplaces, ruled by short-term profit targets. Every report reminded her of Elias quietly repairing fences every Sunday without once mentioning the injustice he had suffered. Instead of demanding revenge, he continued choosing kindness. Meanwhile, Elias remained focused on rebuilding his own life. He accepted evening warehouse shifts after construction work ended, often returning home exhausted long after Ivy had fallen asleep. Still, every Sunday he kept his promise to Helena, because helping her somehow reminded him that goodness still existed. Neighbors began noticing his generosity. Soon he was helping others repair bicycles, carry furniture, trim hedges, and even organize a community cleanup day. Without realizing it, one unemployed father became the quiet heartbeat of an entire neighborhood. Months later, Helena invited Elias and Ivy to attend a community appreciation luncheon hosted downtown. Believing it was merely another neighborhood event, they happily accepted. When they arrived, Elias froze. The venue stood inside the headquarters of the very company that had dismissed him. Old memories flooded back instantly. His heartbeat quickened as former co-workers recognized him walking through the lobby beside Helena. Within minutes, every executive gathered inside the main conference hall. Helena calmly stepped onto the stage. Gone were the simple gardening clothes and comfortable sweaters. She now stood dressed in an elegant business suit as hundreds of employees respectfully rose to greet their CEO, Elias, stared in complete disbelief. Ivy squeezed her father's hand, equally confused. Helena began speaking about leadership, responsibility, and forgotten humanity. She described how one man had unknowingly taught her that true character appeared, not during success but after devastating loss. Without mentioning their Sunday conversations in detail, she explained how this man never sought revenge against the organization that had hurt him. Instead, he spent his free time helping neighbors, raising a compassionate daughter, and proving that dignity required no impressive job title. The room became completely silent. She then revealed the findings of her investigation. Several senior executives responsible for unethical layoffs had already been removed from their positions following months of evidence collection. New employee protection policies were immediately introduced. Departments would once again prioritize people alongside performance. Helena announced that rebuilding trust required more than corporate speeches. It demanded leaders willing to admit mistakes publicly. Then she turned toward Elias. She thanked him for every Sunday afternoon he spent helping someone he believed was simply a lonely neighbor. She admitted that every repaired fence, every planted flower, every shared conversation had restored her faith in compassionate leadership. Finally, she offered Elias not merely his old position, back but a newly created role, overseeing employee development and workplace culture across the entire company. His responsibility would be ensuring that no hardworking employee ever felt invisible again. Tears quietly filled Elias's eyes. The applause surrounding him seemed distant compared to the overwhelming realization that kindness had opened a door anger never could. Ivy proudly embraced her father, while many former co-workers wiped away tears of their own. Several employees later admitted they had regretted remaining silent during the layoffs, promising themselves they would never ignore injustice again. The months that followed transformed far more than one career. Elias introduced mentoring programs, family assistance initiatives, mental health resources, and recognition systems, celebrating ordinary employees whose quiet dedication often went unnoticed. Productivity improved naturally because people finally felt respected instead of replaceable. Helena frequently reminded every executive that spreadsheets measured profits, but compassion measured legacy. Outside work, Sundays never changed. Elias, Ivy, and Helena continued tending the little neighborhood garden together, beneath bright daytime skies filled with birdsong and warm sunshine. Children from nearby homes joined them. Neighbors shared homemade meals, and strangers slowly became friends. Success no longer meant expensive offices or executive titles. It meant creating places where people genuinely cared for one another. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Tales Journey. Your support helps spread stories that remind the world kindness still changes lives. Special request, before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Kindness always finds its way." We would love to see how many people still believe that one simple act of compassion can change someone's future forever. As the sun slowly settled over the peaceful neighborhood, one beautiful Sunday afternoon, Elias looked across the small garden that had quietly changed his life. He realized he had never truly been defeated on the day he lost his job. His greatest victory began the moment he chose kindness instead of resentment. Every helping hand he offered had planted invisible seeds that eventually blossomed into opportunities no ambition alone could have created. Helena had regained the heart of her company. Ivy had learned that compassion is stronger than disappointment. And Elias discovered that the greatest promotions in life are not always given by employers. They are earned through character. In a world where people often chase success by climbing over others, his journey proved that those who lift others with genuine kindness are the ones who rise the highest in the end. Every Sunday became something Elias quietly looked forward to. After spending the morning with his daughter Ivy, he would cross the street to help Helena with whatever needed to be done. Some Sundays he repaired loose wooden steps. Other Sundays he trimmed overgrown hedges or fixed broken shelves inside her home. Ivy filled the peaceful garden with laughter as she planted colorful flowers beside Helena's roses. What started as a simple act of kindness slowly became a tradition that brought comfort to all three of them. None of them realized those quiet afternoons were changing their lives forever. Helena never spoke about her professional life, and Elias never complained about losing his career. Their conversations were about hope, family, and the importance of treating people with respect. Helena admired the way Elias carried himself. Even after losing everything, he never blamed the world. He simply believed that kindness was something no one could take away. One Sunday, while Elias repaired a loose porch step, Ivy innocently asked why good people sometimes lost their jobs even when they worked hard. Helena noticed the sadness in Elias's eyes. Instead of speaking with anger, he calmly explained that sometimes companies forgot the human stories behind employee numbers. He said bitterness would only steal the future, so he chose to move forward instead of living with resentment. Those words stayed with Helena long after Elias returned home. That very evening, curiosity led her to open confidential company records. She searched for one name, Elias Mercer. What she discovered left her completely speechless. 12 years of outstanding performance, glowing evaluations, leadership awards, and not a single disciplinary record. Yet one cold document labeled him as non-essential during a restructuring that had rewarded executives with enormous bonuses. The deeper Helena investigated, the more disturbing the truth became. Experienced employees had been dismissed to increase short-term profits, while departments were left struggling with inexperienced replacements. The company she had built with integrity was slowly losing its soul. And suddenly, Helena realized something that changed everything. The kind man repairing her porch every Sunday was one of the greatest mistakes her own company had ever made.